Plaintiff Tracy Greaves says when she was homeless, she and her friend moved in with the defendant. And in exchange for living there, they had sex with the defendant. Tracy claims she and the defendant eventually started dating, but she soon realized he was controlling, and she's suing him today for breach of contract and remodeling expenses. Defendant Darren Vetter admits that he had sex with Tracy and her friend in exchange for a place to stay. But 3 weeks into it, Tracy said she loved him, so they started dating. Darren claims Tracy cheated multiple times, and once when they argued about her infidelities, she bit him. Darren denies owing Tracy for anything.
Start with you.
We met through a mutual friend roughly around 2009, and my friend and I were homeless, and she was really good friends with Darren, and he agreed to take us in. And we didn't know that it came with the circumstance of sexual favors, but it did. But as
For both of you?
For both of us. It was supposed to be separate one night, one the next night. But we were homeless and we needed a place to be out of the elements.
You all did comply with that?
We did comply, but I was first, and Darren and I actually hit it off.
Go ahead.
So I became his girl.
What did she become?
Once we became a couple, then he ended up throwing her out.
You didn't try and stop him from putting her out?
I did, but I couldn't. Darren was very controlling.
All right.
In the relationship.
Okay.
Which at first I took as flattery that he loved me so much that he wanted to know where I was every second of the day and didn't want people around me and stuff like that. I was flattered. You know, I thought that meant he loved me more. But it didn't take long to set in, a few weeks, that this was a controlling.
That got old quick.
Yes, it got old very, very quick. But an incident of his controlling behavior, we were arguing one day, so I went to my girlfriend's house. Went to my girlfriend's house, and we were having cocktails on the porch, and Darren knew where I would be, so he showed up there on his bicycle, and when I'm out there, he got mad and threw the bike off to the side, and he's in the middle of the street screaming and yelling at me, calling me names, and we're on the porch, and we're just kind of giggling, and here comes a car, so he had to get out of the way of the car, so the Cadillac rode over his teeth. His teeth had come out.
How did his teeth come out?
He had a plate.
How did they come out, though?
He was yelling, and I guess that...
Oh.
But they came out, and the Cadillac drove over him. Well, now he's really pissed, so he got his teeth together and he went home. I didn't go home. I didn't go home right away, Your Honor, because I was kind of scared he'd be really mad.
He did put his teeth back in?
What he did, no.
Crooked?
He had to go, when I got home, he was super gluing them together. He was super gluing them together. And he was really, really, really mad. Well, anyway, our relationship was on and off until about 2013.
Plaintiff Tracy Greaves dated the defendant, and when she first met him, she was having sex with him in exchange for a place to stay.
Let me allow him to give some background, sir.
No, I met Tracy in 03. She was seeing my brother. In about 09, we seen each other again. And she was homeless, her and her friend.
I forgot about seeing his brother.
And anyway, about the sexual favors, they made the offer to me, and yes, they did move in with me.
They made the offer before moving in?
Yes.
No.
They said, if you'll allow us to live with you, you'll...
Take turns each night.
No. That became apparent to me once I moved in, and we actually had no place to go.
Okay, so anyway, after the first couple, 3 weeks, she told me she loved me. We were together for a while. We got along real good. So, I don't know, throughout the 4 years, it was off and on. She'd go out when she wanted to, come home when she wanted, tell me who she went out and had sex with when she come home.
That's
not
true.
What would you say?
I wasn't happy, but I put up with it for a while.
No.
What would you say?
Well, I wasn't happy. I just told her.
No, you
You
did.
said, I don't appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got
anyway-
accused.
And anyway, it went on long enough. Finally, we got into an argument one time over it, and she bit me. I got teeth marks here to prove it. Still.
He accused me of running around on him all the time, but I didn't
got
run
that. All right. So go ahead, sir.
But anyway, it went on for, like I said, about 4 years, and then finally I got tired of it, and I threw her out.
Well,
Now I understand why she's been married 6 times.
7.
7, I'm sorry.
Why do you say you've been married 7 times?
I tell you why, because I don't put up with their crap when they start mistreating me after a little while, and I
Like
just
what? Give me some instances of mistreatment.
hitting me,
All
running
7,
around.
or how many hit you?
Not all 7 hit me. There was a couple of good ones I let slip through my fingers. I think I had.
Let's move on, man. What you suing him for today?
All right, I'm suing him because he knew I was coming into some money in January, and he was behind on his truck payments. So we made an agreement. He was $400 in arrears, and I paid his truck payment. I called his truck up because he was having to park it and hide it so they wouldn't repo it. So, and he does construction. That's his livelihood. And the deal was he would remodel my kitchen if I called his truck up. And I did for $400, and I have a receipt here.
Yes,
And
see it, please.
It's highlighted and circled.
All right. And what has happened since then?
Well, then, since then, well, there was a lot of, when he would come over, I guess because we were friends, he wanted to come over more, it would become more social than him actually working, and then he wouldn't show up, or he would come and borrow some money, but say he'd be back in 30 minutes, but he wouldn't.
So he
come.
hasn't paid you any of it?
No, hasn't.
Okay, that's 400. Why are you suing him for 775?
The 375 is what I had to pay somebody else to come finish what
the work.
to repair what
Right.
little he did and finish the work.
Right, and you only loaned him 400, right?
Yes, sir.
We hear from you, sir.
That was around the beginning of January of this year. I was behind on my truck payment, $400. I went over and asked her. She said, "You remodel my kitchen, I'll make your truck payment." And I told her I'm working my regular job. I'm working long hours, so I'll be there when I can at nights, 3 hours a night. Well, she made the truck payment. I admit that. And I went over to one night, was doing some work. A couple nights later, I come back, and she tells me to get the out. I'm fired.
No.
That she already hired somebody else to finish the work.
No, I didn't.
All right, so you didn't do it. That is true?
Yes, sir.
All right.
No,
So,
sir.
ma'am, you get the $400 back that you loaned him, all right?
Yes,
And
sir.
you have your kitchen fixed.
Actually,
For
my house burnt
$375.
down. My house burnt down like a month and a half ago
sorry
now.
to hear that. All right, but I can't grant you anything other than what you loaned him.
I understand.
All right, you loaned him 400, you're gonna get it back.
Yes,
the
sir.
kitchen that you paid $375 for, it's unfortunate that it was burned down, but you received the benefit of that $375.
Yes,
you had
sir.
a kitchen for a hot minute.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Before it got real hot.
well, and then it got real hot, right? Judgment for the plaintiff, 400.
Well, we're still friends after all this. I wanted to get my money back out of it, as you know, especially seeing that my house is burnt down now. We kind of need the money, but he's always going to be my friend.
And what happened. She deserves it, and I want to remain friends.